Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Today we're gonna be talking about some issues plaguing Africa. Okay, we have seen along the years some issues plaguing Africa, especially political, economic, and socio-cultural issues that affect Africa as a whole. And we're gonna be talking about that, and we gonna analyze some of them. So while you share, please make sure you share and share while we populate. Okay.
Hey there, political enthusiasts. Today I'm diving into a complex and essential topic: corruption and dictatorship among African presidents. But remember, this isn't about blaming a whole group, it's about understanding the nuanced factors at play. Let's start with what drives corruption. Weak institutions are a biggie. When the judiciary and law enforcement are easily influenced, corruption can thrive. Lack of transparency and accountability is another culprit. If government spending and decisions aren't transparent, it's tough to catch corruption in the act. Political instability and conflict, they create chaos, where corruption can flourish. And let's not forget poverty and inequality. When resources are scarce, desperation can lead to corrupt practices. Poor governance, economic development all play a role. International cooperation and education are key too. Remember, solutions must be context-specific and require long-term commitment and local ownership. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. All right, folks, that's a wrap on today's deep dive. Stay informed, stay engaged, and see you in the next video.
Yeah, that was from the short brief there. You can tell what has transpired in Africa for the culmination of all the issues going on in Africa. Okay, today we're gonna be talking much about that. What are the causes of Africa's dilemma, political dilemma? And we have seen that in most countries, Africa has suffered from poor leadership. Okay, but today we're gonna be talking much about that to figure out those major issues plaguing from the short brief, the political dilemma. And we have seen that in most countries, Africa has suffered from poor leadership. Okay, but today we're gonna be talking much about that too. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna be talking about. Let me see. Okay, so listen to this excerpt. We're gonna come back to this. Okay.
Very good report card from nursery school to university, but jobless. Where am I heading to? So we want to tell Cameroonians, gather those report cards and bring. Prophet, I will give him. Go and give your President Paul Biya. Either we have good report cards with job, or we take your report cards back and allow us jobless and know that we have no way to go. God created this nation, gave us life, but wickedness has placed us under darkness. Okay. And that's why deliverance will even start here with people like Prof. Okay. First, stop defending evil. Okay.
You can see the anger in him, right? These are people who are very, very conscious of what Africa is going through, they know that the leaders are just faking things, they're lying. But what are they supposed to do? They are the ones to let the leaders, the people, the people power is what has to make Africa change. If not, the leaders are gonna be doing the same thing they do every day. The corruption, the embezzlement, the mismanagement, misappropriation, these are constant threats of all African countries. But without a strong opposition, without a strong people power, this phenomenon is going to be continuing and nobody going to stop it. Okay, nobody going to stop it. And what do you think can change? Nothing. Because the same people are in power, the same corrupt leaders are in power. Okay, and if nothing changes, they are still gonna be there. Okay, they're still gonna be leading. They're still gonna be in charge of things. And what's gonna change? Tell me, what's gonna change if the same people are there, the same phenomenon is happening, and nothing is changing? Okay, that is what I want to talk today, so that we can go into some issues. Okay. Today I want us to make sure that we understand where the problem is. Okay, it is very important with this complex discussion of African presidents, and the corruption and dictatorship are problems that exist in many African countries, and we are seeing that these issues needs to be redressed. Factors that can contribute to this aspect of corruption that we have seen in most African countries. The number one is the weak institution, where a lack of strong and independent institution, like the judiciary, the law enforcement, and the regulatory bodies. They create that opportunity for corruption. In my other show, I made mention of the guy who was in charge of contracts in Cameroon, right? And he's a minister, but he said he doesn't know who takes contracts, who wins contracts, who implement contracts, and who supervise contracts. So the government just pay. Tell me, how can the contracts be executed when the government don't take charge to make sure that they give checks and balances of who are those getting those contracts? So people just take contracts, say, okay, I want to build roads. They just give the contracts to that guy. They don't even know the expertise of that guy. They don't know how, the experience, what that guy has done before, to make sure that if he's given a contract, he can implement it. Okay. And this is going because most of the companies that win this contract are foreign companies. The embassies, their job there is to win these contracts for all these guys who are there. Okay. And what do you have to do? They win contracts, they don't implement them. And that is why you see a lot of these guys who go around that they are contractors. But if you tell them to show you one contract that they have carried out, they cannot show you any one contract that they have done. Okay, but they go about saying that they are contractors. They are contractors. They are not contractors because they have just failed contracts. They have not implemented any good contract all along. That's why you see the roads, the bridges, all these infrastructures are still there. Okay. Whereas we know when governments implement contracts, those contracts are part of the jobs. I heard a speech of Paul Biya the other day about the youths, saying that they will tell the truth to the youth. The truth is not the issue. The issue is what you're doing to help the youth on employment. See how many youths are traveling the desert. How many youths are traveling the jungles just to go abroad for greener pasture. Whereas Africa has everything. But the leaders don't understand that. To them, it's normal. That is what we call brain drain. Before the colonial days, the colonial masters went to Africa. Now Africa is going to the colonial countries. It's brain drain, it's human resource drain, is everything, because those good brains are being taken by the Western powers, and the African countries, the leaders don't like the diasporans. To them, the diasporans are a threat to them, because the diasporans will come with the knowledge from abroad and they want to give those checks and balances. They don't like you, diasporans. They say you are the people coming to cause chaos in their countries. Because they don't like you. You know, that is their problem. And just because they don't like checks and balances, they don't like people to check what they are doing. To them, it's a threat. It's a threat to them. So, what kind of system do you think can really move in that kind of era where people don't like accountability? People don't like you to say, hey, can you check on this? There's lack of transparency and accountability. That is the problem. The government spending, the contracts and decision-making processes makes it very difficult to detect and address these corrupt practices. It makes you, when you go there and you want to say, hey, this is what the government can do, they say you are opposition. Anybody that comes with a good idea, okay, it is very difficult. They won't even give you access to those public information that and those kind of to give checks and balance. That's why when organizations like Transparency International go there, all these international organizations, they just bribe them. They just bribe them and they just stay quiet. They don't do their jobs. They don't do anything, any accountability, nothing. Okay. The political instability and conflict is also an issue in Africa. The governments and the opposition parties are always at loggerheads. It makes it so difficult for both of them to work. In other countries, the opposition work with the ruling party, especially when the ruling party is the one that is winning. But in most countries, the opposition are enemies. Whereas you know of what we call coalition governments. When this party wins, they use these other parties, they have coalitions so that they can root the country. But in Africa, if one party wins, the other party becomes the enemy. And there is that issue where there's either a coup d'etat, a military takeover, or something else happens to topple the government. And that is the vicious circle of political instability in Africa. Okay, where conflict and instability has created that environment for corruption to thrive. Okay, in this, when there is conflict, the resources are often diverted from public services, right? And the accountability mechanism is very difficult to go through. Okay, everything is stuck in that political instability. Okay, the poverty and inequality is something that has really eaten the where people, because of poverty, they can do anything to survive. Okay, the high level of poverty and inequality can, that desperation can create that desperation where people do things to survive. So it's a kind of, Africa has been made that people are survival of the fittest. Okay, Okay, and it's just so terrible that it adds up to the poor governance and all these weak governance where there is lack of rule of law. Uh, all this contributes to corruption where people are not held accountable. When there is weak institution, there is instability, there is conflict, there is poverty, there is very poor governance. Okay, it makes it so difficult for anything to thrive. Okay, and added to that, you have all these other factors added. Okay, yeah, listen to this.
No, Africans are tired. Africans are tired because they are being led by individuals or groups of individuals who do not have their interests at heart. They're engaged in activities that are inimical to the general interest of the people. The levels of theft and greed and wastage are high. And elections only give them the possibility of gaining a veneer of legitimacy. It used to be the case that coup d'etats were the ways in which this was happening, particularly in the 1960s. Then there was a lull. After the coup d'etat, then we had the guerrilla movements, as we saw in Uganda in 1986. Rwanda, of course, is unique in 1994.
58 million US dollars corrupt.
Yeah, he's right. When the people are being led by individuals who don't care about the masses, don't care about what the people are going through, what do you think the people are gonna think of? Okay, the weak democratic institutions, the lack of checks and balances, all these are the political polarization has really hindered a strong governance system where accountability can be okay. And that then the external factors, don't forget, factors like foreign aid, natural resource wealth, and international trade can also influence corruption, right? For example, if aid is not managed effectively, what happens? It can be diverted to corrupt leaders, right? They call it the resource curse. It's a phenomenon where countries rich in natural resources experience more corruption and less economic development. Most African countries has a lot of resources, but because of corrupt leaders, it's been diverted to corrupt officials, where they go and negotiate bad deals. Those bad deals are deals that when the current regime signs a lot of deals, and those deals are just to favor them. They don't care about the masses. A new regime comes, cancels all the deals, sign their own deals. It's just like that. So each government come and sign their deals to have their own piece of cake. It's not for the benefit of the country itself. It's for the benefit of who signs the deals. And that has been an issue in all African countries. Okay, they don't hold people accountable. During the time of COVID, there was this COVID aid that was given to most African countries. That COVID aid had masks, it had so many medical supplies, so many stuff that most of the African leaders never made these COVID equipments to reach the population. The funds that was given, everything was swindled. It's just an example of this international foreign aid that goes there. But at the end of the day, the weak democratic institutions, the lack of these checks and balances makes power concentration to a particular group of people who are the executive branch. So they don't even have time for checks and balances. They say, okay, when they say, when you go and sign these things, give my own share. Okay, send my own 100,000, share that one to the other people. That's how they do. So the masses don't even know what's going on. A lot of contracts are being signed by these foreign companies that the population don't even know what's going on. Okay, and you won't doubt it that most foreign companies are running most resources in Africa. Okay, and the oil, the rubber, the timber, the cocoa, coffee, what have you, is run by foreign companies. The they have made it so difficult that when you go home, when you go back to Africa to try to do something, the governments have made the foreign direct investment of their own people so difficult. Okay, they prefer people who can give them money, who can bribe them to get those contracts. That is how difficult it is. That's how difficult it is. And you see the money people use to build or carry out a project, and the money somebody's spending doing something else. You say, but why not use this money to carry out this project? Eh? That can help employment. That can do. The African leaders mismanage money to an extent that they don't even care about the masses, what the masses think. That is their money. It's taxpayers' money. They use it without remorse. This short excerpt will tell you some example of how one leader can use a little amount of money to build companies. The other ones are using money to do something else.
58 million US dollars corruption versus 12 million dollars corruption. So the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, this man spent 58 million US dollars, as you guys see here, just to build the foundation of a church while people are suffering. And then on the other hand, you have Captain Ibrahima Traore, the current leader of
Right. Build factory with a little amount of money. The other leader is building a church. Okay, and we understand we are all from Christian family. We are, but Africans don't understand that you have to work. Okay, you have to work. You have to have a job to make your prayer work. It's not you going to church and sit. African leaders have taken upon themselves to mismanage fund in the extent that they don't know how to use money. This Traore guy from Burkina Faso, he came to power. He has transformed the youths, empowered the youths, provided jobs, employment opportunities upon employment opportunities. This is a guy who has not been in power for almost how many years. But the thing that he has done for that short time can tell you that African leaders are just stingy. They are just greedy. Because Traore just came to power since when? He hasn't been in power for up to 4 years. But what he has done for this short time will tell you that most African leaders are just greedy and stingy. Because you must not be in power for 10, 20 years to do something. Traore is proving that. The other Assane Gauta of Mali is doing the same thing. And the other guy of Niger is doing the same thing. You must not be in power for long to do something. American presidents stay for 4 years and they leave office. Within that 4 years, they have a plan of action. They implement, they carry out what they said during their campaign.
Because once Africa or the leaders of Africa are able to build more factories in Africa, people are working in Africa, then the immigration will stop. African people will not struggle to go outside, We will get jobs in our own continent, and they do not want it. They want Africa to depend on themselves. So our leaders, those who are working for the imperial powers are going to use the resources, the money in Africa just to do some foolish things, live a lavish lifestyle. Imagine 58 million on a church foundation when there are hundreds of thousands of people in Ghana. They cannot get a job. This other man, they can call him a dictator, but this other man, yeah, no, he is good. He's a, democratic values and principles. And the best about this tomato factory here in Burkina Faso is that all the money comes from the people, which means the contribution from the locals. For instance, you have some businessmen, they will take out money, families, put them together. Now they are going to get shares from this company, which means every profit that this company is going to make in the coming years, all of these people who contribute money are going to get some money from that. And because of that corruption, the Ghanaian people decided to remove the Ghanaian president from power. Now, the former president of Ghana wins the presidential election now in Ghana. Now, my question to the Ghanaian people is that why do you vote for the former president to become a president again in Ghana? Do you guys believe that he is less corrupt, or do you guys believe that he can do more for the Ghanaian people and the African people as a whole? Because I don't know much about this guy. But I want my Ghanaian followers, or you African followers in general, to tell me something about this Ghana.
Yeah, just that's just a tip of the iceberg for you guys to understand how these guys go. Okay, but the African leaders have to learn from these new guys who came in fresh to know that development is not about longevity of service. It's about taking action to projects that can help your people. That's all. It has nothing to do with you staying in power. Like most African presidents want to stay in power for 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years to say, okay, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I heard a speech of Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon. After being in power for 42 years, is now that he said he want to open a job, whether job what, I don't understand. For 42 years you have been in power. You have not done that. And you still want to run for office at 92 years old. That is the greedy image of African leaders. Traoré is an example of person who came to power even though it's a military coup, but he's telling you that even it's not about civilian rule. Sometimes the military rule can help change the government. Yes.
I am not a politician. I'm not joking. I am a soldier. And I prefer to tell you the truth. Everyone is free to take or leave. Everyone drives around in their car. Everyone is living well. We eat in the morning, we eat for lunch, we eat at night. We do what we want to do. We are free to talk about saying what we want. It's democracy, it's the right, that's all. That's all we know about in Ouagadougou. But go ahead and see the children who have skin on their bones. Go see those who are starving. Go see those women who can no longer breastfeed because they have nothing left in their breasts. Go see them. Let's not pretend. If our journalists do not have the courage to go to the field and bring you these images, it's because we want to wash the image of Burkina. I tell you that it is false. It exists. When I tell you about the people who eat the grass, whoever wants to challenge, I'll bring him tomorrow. Go see, it continues. It has not even stopped. Because we were able to supply some villages, but others not yet. We are still on the way. No civilian can even support with trucks so that we can be in solidarity with this population. What integrity is this? What is integrity, Burkina Faso? What is it? This lack of support has deeply unsettled and revolted us. Until we address the core issues plaguing this country, we will always be revolted. For the moment.
That's Traoré. These are people who have made a difference in their, they have made a difference. Okay, but don't be surprised. A lot of foreign countries have tried to cause chaos in these countries, okay, to topple these guys. Before, we knew that military rule was not good, right? Now we realize that military rule sometimes can be good for some countries, because when people like Muammar Gaddafi was killed, Thomas Sankara, they were killed, we knew that they were not good leaders. Whereas those were Pan-Africanists that came with a Pan-African idea to change the mindset of the people. But they were made to be called terrorists. Any change maker, any person that come to change the mindset of the people is called a terrorist. Whereas these guys were not terrorists. Even Nelson Mandela was called a terrorist. Martin Luther King was called a terrorist. But today, all these guys, they have a day for them celebrating. They are celebrating them today. Why? Because they were fighting for a just cause. Take a listen to it.
Under Muammar al-Gaddafi tried. What did they do to him? They killed him. Burkina Faso, under Thomas Isidore Sankara, tried it. What did they do to him? They killed him. Ghana, under the Osagie for Kwame Nkrumah, tried it. What did they do to him? Removed him from power. Tanzania, under Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, tried it. What did they do to him? They undermined his economy. Mozambique, under Samora Moises Machel, tried it. What did they do to him? They killed him.
Wait, it doesn't end there. What about Ruben Umnyobe of Cameroon, Amilcar Cabral of Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, Felix Moumier of Cameroon, Sylvanus Olympio of Togo, Hamani Diori of Niger, Laurent Désiré Kabila of DR Congo, Samuel Doe of Liberia, Eduardo Mondlane, Marian Nguabi, Barthélemy Boganda, Pierre Mulele, and many others.
So whenever you tried to decolonize in all spheres, the former colonizer turned policeman of the world or policeman of the world will take you out.
Wow, that's just an excerpt of some African leaders who were betrayed, okay? Yeah, they were betrayed by their own people. But those are people who are celebrated today. No matter what happened, no matter what they did, they were trying to better the life of the Africans. They tried to better the life of Africans. And today, most leaders are trying to copy them. Most leaders are trying to copy most of these leaders who were trying to bring change, who were trying to implement dynamism in Africa. Okay, with all the problems that Africa face, what can be done today to change this mindset? We have to start looking. Tell your leaders to strengthening their institution will better the country. Okay, investing in strong and independent institution is very, very crucial to the life of Africans. If you don't have strong institution, it's very difficult. You see in America today, America is strong is not of the people, it's the institution, the constitution that make America strong today. If we cannot promote transparency, we cannot promote accountability. If we cannot make the government, the process more transparent, it will be difficult. Okay? The government needs to publish budgets. They need to publish contracts so that we know who is carrying out the contract. If that contract is not implemented, we will know who to hold. Strengthening all these mechanisms will hold government accountable, will hold leaders accountable. Okay? We have to investigate. We have to do investigative journalism. The civil society organizations have to stand up, okay, in Africa to make sure they hold their government accountable. They have to support free and fair elections, not election that when a ruling party will rig and rig and rig to stay in power. I saw the case of Senegal, where Macky Sall was trying to change the constitution. The people told him, no, your time is up. That's what they have to tell African leaders. Your time is up. Okay? Establishing that this independent electoral commission to protect the right of voters. Because Africans don't even have interest anymore in elections because of the polarization of this. Okay. African leaders, the political parties, the people have to promote good governance. Okay, that is very important so that they can strengthen the rule of law. Okay, because without doing that, they will be wasting their time. Okay, they have to empower the civil society, promoting the economic development, also international cooperation. These are things that should be done. If we don't do that, we'll be going around the circle trying to ask for things that are not necessary. The necessary things to be done have to be done for Africa to thrive. Okay, that is very important, because Africans are fed up with this bad governance. They are fed up with all this, what is going on in Africa. Okay, thank you for watching. Make sure you share. Okay.